We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
23. Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and welcome back to another IMDb Show Film Club movie review. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Disney's newest animated feature entitled Raya and the Last Dragon, which is actually available to stream today on Disney Plus with premiere access for an additional $30. But before we get into today's review, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor for the video, June's Journey. June's Journey is a hidden object mystery game that is completely free to download on your phone. I usually play this game towards the end of the day because it is so relaxing. Some levels are a bit more challenging than others, but I personally don't mind it because each scene is so beautiful and colorful and carefully painted. It's just very relaxing and provides a great sense of escapism. And honestly, my favorite aspect of this game is the story, which you guys know I care a lot about story as someone who reviews movies and TV shows, and I feel like you guys would appreciate it too. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but basically, June's Journey is a detective story that takes you back to the glamour of the 1920s as you try to solve the murder of June's sister. Of course, along the way you do uncover some family secrets, which is always really fun. Plus, I love that this game has a diverse set of characters and has a woman at the center of its story. All things we love and support on this channel because representation in our media as well as in the games that we play matter. So if you're interested in playing this game, I will leave a link in the description box and pinned comment down below. So Raya and the Last Dragon stars Kelly Marie Tran, Awkwafina, Gemma Chan, Isaac Wang, Benedict Wong, Talia Tran, Lucille Soong, Alan Tudyk, Patty Harrison, Ross Butler, Sandra Oh, and Daniel Day Kim. This movie was directed by Don Hall and Carlos Lopez Estrada and co-directed by Paul Briggs and John Ripa with screenplay by Ki Win and Adele Lim, who also was one of the screenwriters for Crazy Rich Asians. So Raya and the Last Dragon takes us on an exciting epic journey to the fantasy world of Kumandra, where humans and dragons lived together long ago in harmony. But when an evil force threatened the land, the dragons sacrificed themselves to save humanity. Now, 500 years later, that same evil has returned, and it's up to a lone warrior, Raya, voiced by Kelly Marie Tran, to track down the legendary Last Dragon to restore the fractured land and its divided people. However, along her journey, she'll learn that it will take more than a dragon to save the world. It's going to take trust and teamwork as well. So as in all movie reviews here on this channel, I'm going to be talking about my pros, cons, and then I'm going to give my overall rating and review. I also, before we get into it, just wanted to say I actually got early access to this movie, so thank you so much to Disney for sending me a screener. Really means a lot to me. So now let's get into this review. Alright, so now let's get into some of the pros. So my first pro to this movie is the world of the movie. Raya and the Last Dragon takes place in a fantasy world known as Kumandra. Kumandra is made up of 5 distinct regions, and each region has their own sort of feel and aesthetic. From a design perspective, the movie was heavily influenced by different countries within Southeast Asia, and that was really cool to see, especially as someone who has been fortunate enough to have traveled to different parts of Southeast Asia. I've been to the Philippines, I've been to Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, and to just see those places and those influences brought to life in a Disney animated film was just so special to see. And honestly, because Disney did such a great job with making this entire world feel very enticing and immersive, it strangely made me feel like I was traveling to all of these different countries again, even though obviously I've been at home social distancing. So my second pro of this movie are the characters. I absolutely love the characters in this film, and I especially really loved the protagonist, Raya. Not only is she, you know, this fierce warrior who's kicking butt, but what I really loved about Raya as a character is she has a very real human problem, and that is that she has trust issues, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. And the movie actually shows us the origin of where her trust issues stem from. And that ultimate flaw is what really drives the entire plot of this film and is one of the overarching lessons that the movie tries to ingrain in you. Additionally, I really loved her adversary in this film. Her name is Namari, voiced by Gemma Chan, and she is a pretty fierce character herself, and at times she does really pose as a serious threat to Raya and her mission. There's also a ton of lovable side characters that Raya meets along the way in her journey, and each of them are endearing in their own way, and they also individually serve a greater purpose to this found family team because they have their own sort of special skill, which was really fun to watch. So my third pro to this film are the fight sequences. Unlike a lot of other Disney animated films, Raya doesn't have any musical numbers. Instead, those musical numbers are essentially substituted with these epic fight sequences. Just from a general point of view, I thoroughly enjoyed them and I was entertained and enthralled. And I did a little research after watching the movie, and I found that apparently Ki Win, who is one of the screenwriters for Raya and the Last Dragon, he actually has a background in martial arts and previously worked as a stage fight choreographer. And in that article that I was reading, he was talking about how he studied different forms of fighting from different regions within Southeast Asia. So he studied Muay Thai, I'm really sorry if I butchered that, but that originates from Thailand. He also studied Arnis from the Philippines and was familiar with some traditional wrestling moves that are specific to Vietnamese culture. So again, from a cultural specific standpoint, to see them do very distinct nods to all of these different Southeast Asian ways of fighting was just really cool to see. My fourth pro to this movie is the message and theme of trust. So in the movie, and I believe they show this in the trailer, Awkwafina has this line, and it's something along the lines of, maybe the reason why the world is broken is because people don't trust one another. I've heard different people say like, oh, this is such a timely and relevant message, especially considering what's going on right now. But honestly, I wouldn't even call it a timely message. I think that's just a very classic and timeless message. And honestly, that specific issue, trust issues, is something that I would take a gander at that a lot of adults struggle with way more than kids. Even for me personally, as I was watching this movie, I found it very difficult to trust one particular character, and that's because I'm old and jaded. But in any case, I think the idea of the importance of trusting people and giving people a chance is a really great message to pass along to kids in quote-unquote children's movies, but also a great message to reiterate to a lot of us adults who are watching this film. Alright, so now let's get into some of the cons. So my first con for Raya and the Last Dragon is I feel like at times this movie does run into the problem of being a bit too expositional. Because this film is an original idea and it's a new world and there's different rules, Raya has this mission, like, you know, at times there is a bit of information that we as the audience have to absorb, but as you're watching the movie, especially in the beginning, it does feel like the movie really goes out of its way to explain a lot of things to you. For me, at least, watching as an adult, at times I was like, okay, we get it. But I do have to remind myself, like, this movie is made for kids as well, and perhaps that's the reason why they feel the need to consistently remind you of, like, this is the mission, this is where we're going, this is what this region is like. So yeah, at times it was just kind of like, but I sort of understand it when thinking about the children. So my second con for this movie is the predominant casting of non-Southeast Asian actors. So outside of Kelly Marie Tran, who is Vietnamese, pretty much everyone in this cast is of East Asian descent. Now, that's not to say that they did not do a great job. Everybody, honestly, who was in this movie did a great job. but it would have been nice, considering that this movie specifically focuses on Southeast Asia, it would have been nice if they would have given more of an opportunity for other Southeast Asian actors, actresses to be part of the film. And I honestly think this is indicative of a larger problem, at least here within the United States, that when we think about Asian stories, mainstream media tends to focus only on East Asian stories. And that's not to say I don't think East Asian stories are important, but we also have Southeast Asians as well. So I think Raya as a film is a step in the right direction in terms of broadening what we think of as Asian representation. However, it would be nice that aside from telling Southeast Asian specific stories, that's also reflected in the people behind the scenes who are working on them as well. And my third con to this movie is the $30 paywall. Disney, why are you doing this? For me personally, I think to hide Raya and the Last Dragon behind a $30 paywall is doing a huge disservice to the film. Just thinking back on how previously Disney Plus hid the live action Mulan film behind a $30 paywall as well, and remembering that people were really upset about that. And it wasn't just because Mulan wasn't the greatest movie, but it was because on top of paying a subscription fee to a streaming service, the audience then has to pay an additional $30 just to watch the film. And the thing with Mulan is that you're talking about a movie where people were already familiar with the story. It was a live action remake, so at least people understood what they were paying $30 for. But with Raya and the Last Dragon, to pay $30 up front for a brand new story, a brand new group of characters that they're not really familiar with, I'm not quite sure many people would take that chance, especially after the live action Mulan remake. I honestly wish they would just release Raya and the Last Dragon as a film without the paywall, sort of similarly to how they did with Soul on Christmas Day. To be really honest, just as an Asian person, I have to give Disney a little side eye, like, why are you specifically hiding the Asian-centric movies behind a $30 paywall? I don't know if you think like, oh, crazy rich Asians, bling empire, they can afford it, but we're not all crazy rich. So just speaking as a regular Asian person, I just feel like saying, Disney, please stop hiding our stories behind a $30 paywall and making our stories even less accessible. Alright, my overall rating for Raya and the Last Dragon is a solid A-. In a world filled with reboots, remakes, sequels, prequels, and in the case with Disney specifically, live action remakes, Raya and the Last Dragon is a much needed, welcomed original idea. It's animated beautifully with brown characters of different shades and sizes, and the fact that this is another chance for kids, but especially little girls, to see multiple female characters kicking butt brings me so much joy. And I honestly won't be surprised if they will feel the same way about Raya as I did when I first saw the animated Mulan when I was 5 years old, which Raya is a shining example of the legacy of that film. I also won't be surprised if Disney integrates the world of Kumandra into their theme parks, like Animal Kingdom or even Tokyo Disney Sea. I want to go to there. And speaking as a Filipino American myself, it was great to see some of my culture reflected in a huge Disney animated film. Alright, and that's about it for this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and please turn on the notification button down below so you know when a new video from me comes out. And let me know if you have seen Raya and the Last Dragon. What did you think of it? And if you haven't, are you willing to spend an additional $30 to watch this movie? I mean, for me, I've already seen the movie. I watched it and it was great, but I don't even know if I would pay $30 for this movie. And that's just because I'm a cheap person. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on that. And also, I just want to say thank you so much to June's Journey for sponsoring this video, and additionally thank you Disney Plus for giving me early access to this movie. On a personal note, this was the first time I've ever received a screener for my YouTube channel, and a large reason why I'm even in this position is because of you guys and your continued support of me and my channel. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I'm feeling so much gratitude right now. Lastly, before I end this video, I just want to say Raya and the Last Dragon is available now on Disney Plus with Premiere access, so you do have to pay that additional $30, but it's there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!